at Barnstable this morning, just about 11 minutes toward the top of the hour on this Wednesday morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live on the phone, I welcome our Director of Finance, Mark Milne. Mark, good morning and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Sarah. Same to you. Good morning.
Good morning. So wanted to talk today. We're going to, I think, spend the next few weeks going over this document, and it is the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the most recent past fiscal year. Tell me a little bit about this document.
Sure. Every year we produce, as you just said, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. It's an overview, summarizes all of the town's financial activity for the previous fiscal year. We produce this report internally, give it to our auditors, who then audit the report and express their opinion on the report. We're not required to do a comprehensive annual financial report. We could do just general purpose financial statements, but we have decided for several years now to provide the highest level of financial reporting that we can for our citizens and investors, and so we do the additional steps necessary to complete a comprehensive annual financial report so that we can try to provide the best information we can.
Sure, and it really serves a purpose much like the budget does and much like our annual report does, is a really information document about the town. But really this really is specific to the financial activity for the fiscal year.
Yes, and being a financial report, I think it can be a pretty dry reading for the average person unless they're really into reading financial reports. But for the average person, it can be pretty dry. So I would suggest if somebody does want to read it, the areas to focus on specifically are probably what's called the letter of transmittal and then management's discussion and analysis. Those two sections provide a discussion about the town's financial situation and how it changed from year to year. And that's probably, as opposed to looking at a spreadsheet full of numbers, which are also in here, at least those areas talk a little bit about why the numbers changed, which I think is most helpful to a reader who may want to look at this stuff.
Indeed, and really provides some context. So as you say, if you just give someone a spreadsheet, they might be able to glean some information from that, but with all of this additional information, people will be able to read that and then perhaps go over to the spreadsheet and say, oh, okay, I understand that a little bit better.
Right, exactly. And that's when the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report template was developed. This also creates some consistency among governments across the country. When they developed this template, that's what they had in mind. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board, which promulgates all of the financial reporting standards, had the user or the reader or the citizen in mind when they developed these templates to follow, and why management discussion and analysis section was something that was incorporated about 10 years ago to assist the average citizen to better understand all of these complex financial transactions that occur in a municipal environment. And so the focus really became more on making this a user-friendly report so that the average citizen can understand how their community is operating.
Great. So let's talk a little more, Mark, about some of the sections, about the way in which this is organized. And you mentioned the letter of transmittal, which is a part of the introductory section, which really is just that, an introduction to the document.
Yes, the introduction section includes the letter of transmittal, and the letter of transmittal is essentially provides the reader a profile of their government, the services that their government provides, its governing bodies and officers, how it's organized, its financial management systems, who the principal executive officers are, and the significant factors that may affect the community's financial condition, summary of what's going on with the local economy, a description of its tax base and how that has changed and where that's going, any long-term financial planning that the community has put into place, and then any major initiatives and highlights that occurred in the last fiscal year. More specifically, things like how property taxes collections functioned, and where fund balance is going, how cash and investments are growing or shrinking, et cetera. And so that provides the reader an introduction. That section provides the reader an introduction into the community first and foremost, and that's a good place to start when reading these reports.
Absolutely, and again, perhaps for those who may not be familiar with town, whether they're residents or people who are visiting or just moving in, that's a really good thing to read to get a good picture of what is going on here in town, at least financially.
Absolutely, yep. That's your introduction to your community from a financial perspective.
That's right. So
yep.
and then of course it moves on to the financial section, which I would think really is the meat of this document, Mark.
Yes, that's the meat of the document. Right there is the section where you will right off the bat find the independent auditor's report, where they express their opinion on the financial statements of the community. It's probably the most important letter or area of the document, especially from an investor's standpoint. They want to read the auditor's opinion to see what kind of opinion the auditor is expressing on these financial statements, and you're looking for an unqualified opinion, which means there are no qualifications being expressed by the auditors, and that means that everything in this financial report is free of any material misstatements that may be out there. So they believe that these numbers accurately reflect the community's financial condition. So that's the first section in the financial section, the first paragraph or the first major section within the financial section. And then it gets into the management's discussion and analysis. And that's the next section that I would suggest people read if they want to know about the detailed finances of the community. That's where we really get into a discussion on the highlights of the town's financial activities over the past fiscal year. It's several pages long. It talks about a lot of different financial activities that took place, changes in assets, changes in liabilities, changes in fund balances, comparisons with the previous year, et cetera. And I think it helps the reader, as we said before, rather than looking at a page full of numbers, this section describes how those numbers changed and why.
Indeed, and then it goes on to your basic financial statements, which there are a varied amount of these that all explain kind of different things that give a picture of different financial settings in the town.
Right, yep, and that's those are the basic financial statements, which include things like the statement of net position and statement of activities and statement of cash flows, et cetera. Those are the numbers. That's where if people want to see what the numbers. Because some people like to look at the numbers, and but they're all. That's the section where all the numbers are, and it's also an interesting section is the budgetary, the statement of revenues and expenditures and changes in fund balance, budgetary basis, where we show what the actual approved budget was for the general fund and what the actual expenditures and revenues were, so that people can see how we did from a budgetary standpoint. Because we report multiple bases. We use multiple bases of accounting when we're reporting things. We use cash basis, which is a budgetary basis, and we use a full accrual accounting basis, which many of the other statements are based on. And that's all described, what those bases mean in the report.
So everything you wanted to know about income and expenditure and more about the town of Barnstable. The last section, Mark, is the statistical section. Tell me a little bit about the statistical section.
Yeah, the statistical section is a added benefit that's provided to the reader when you're doing a comprehensive annual financial report. It shows a lot of interesting statistical information, things like who are your top 10 taxpayers the past year, and who were your top 10 taxpayers 10 years ago? So you can see if there's been any significant change in that. It also includes a 10-year historical illustration of your total revenues and expenditures over that period of time, so you can see how things were trending. It also includes things like your assessed valuation of property in town and how that has trended over the past 10 years. It's basically a 10-year look back on a lot of different statistical information, which I think many readers find very interesting. Sometimes some of the most interesting part of the report.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, is this something that is available on the town's website for citizens to peruse should they so desire?
It will be. We just received it, and we'll be putting it on the website. It should be there, and if not by the end of today, probably tomorrow.
Great. Are there printed copies that people can obtain as well, or is this something that is more readily available online, or perhaps something that people can come in and take a look at as opposed to take a big document home with them?
Yeah, we have one printed copy here. It's a 133-page document, and so we don't print a lot of copies. But it will be available online if they want to take a look at it. Many people I know some people like to take a look at a hard copy, but we will have one here in the finance office if anybody wants to come in and take a look at it, but it will be available online as well.
Great. Well, Mark, I thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to delving deeper into this report in the coming weeks. Have a great day.
You too, Sarah. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Mark Milne, of course, is our Director of Finance here in the town of Barnstable, and keep an eye out for that comprehensive annual financial report, soon to be posted on the town's website. We'll keep you up to date on that here on Barnstable this morning. Well, we are here each and every